Hi everyone, I'm Susie or Caffeinated Granny and you're watching my knitting channel. It's been a while since I sat down with you and talked about what was on my needles and what I finished and what yarns I've acquired, so I thought we could have a little catch up today. So I haven't slept much today because this guy, can you see him? So he is super afraid of storms and there was a massive storm tonight, so he was just up all night asking me for help. He thinks that I can stop storms, which is very cute. So excuse the eye bags. I've got tons of coffee here to keep me awake and I hope you also have coffee or a tea. I don't know, what's your beverage of choice? But yeah, I'm blabbering on. I've got a notebook today with me, or like a list of what I should talk about, because I've noticed in these podcasts I'm always yapping away. So I'm trying to make it more curated. But let me know if you like this format. So the first thing that I've got on my list is the Silky Slinky scarf pattern. Look at this. This is a pattern that I made and I released it yesterday. Very excited about it. The whole idea was to have a small scarf that would keep me from getting a cold in this like in-between weather. I get very easily cold in my chest area, so I wanted something that was kind of cute. Like I have a couple of Sophie scarves, but I wanted something a little bit more with some pattern, with some interest on it, let's say. I mean, I love the Sophie scarf. The idea was that I wanted to knit it up in silk because I had a couple of skeins of silk lying around, and this actually only took 25 grams. I'm super excited that I have like a stash buster that I can use. So I used fingering weight yarn, pure silk from Knitting for Olive in the colorway Dusty Artichoke. The pattern is kind of simple, like you have garter stitch and then you have eyelets, and then this is like a slip stitch. You start off at the tip and then you just increase, then you start knitting the eyelets, and then eventually you start knitting the slip stitch. Then you have the middle section where it's the same for a bit, just to add length to it. And if you want it longer, you can add length to it by just repeating what's in the middle section. Then you start decreasing. I like to style it like this. What do you think? Don't I look French? Don't I look French? I just need a baguette. You can also get it twice around your neck. It's not really reversible, but it sort of is. Here you have the slip stitch detail, and then on the other side you don't. But otherwise it's the same. For ages, I've had this merino and cashmere blend yarn in my stash from knitting a hat to one of my best friends. I just love the color. It's so beautiful. It's VIP by Lana Gatto. It's an Italian yarn. I think it's 80% fine merino, 20% cashmere. Or of course you can do this. Then you can see this pattern better, right? Maybe not in this light. And then you can do like this as well. I think it's giving off like French mom vibes. Like I feel a little bit younger in this, although we all know that I'm a granny. Look at this color. I hope the camera catches it. It's like a dark teal or a dark green. Green with a little bit of blue, so I guess that's called teal. I wanted to knit a second sample because once I've done my pattern, I like to put it down and not think about it for a couple of days. And then when I pick it up again, I'll pretend that I'm like a test knitter, and then I'll go through it line by line and follow it and make sure that there's no mistakes. And that usually works okay for me, but I'm always a little bit, sometimes I'm a little bit dyslexic, so there are things that I miss. But then thank God the test knitters, they were so on it. They were like telling me everything, like there's an extra space here. They were amazing, and I really loved seeing their versions. And also I was so lucky because they were super supportive. It was all just like positive vibes all around. I think the pattern is in a great shape because of them. So cheers, guys. It's knit up on 3mm needles, fingering weight yarn. Based on the feedback from this, most people thought that it was advanced beginner to intermediate. I did try to write it so that in the beginning I'm like holding your hand, and after a while I'm changing my language from exactly saying like K5 yarn over to knit to this point, then do that, and once you've learned the repeats, it becomes more automatic. Anyway, so this weekend the pattern will be 25% off on Ravelry. Another pattern that I have in testing is the Anniken cardigan, and since you've seen it last time, I didn't have all the 3 buttons on, but now I do. So this is her. Just as with the scarf, I do like to create a second sample while I'm knitting with my knitters. So I finished my second sample, which is looking like this. So I wanted to knit it slightly bigger because I wanted to see what it would look like oversized. The red one that I knit is extra small, and this is size medium. And the yarn I'm using is Drops Flora, held together with Kid Silk. So I'm using Drops Flora in white, and then the Kid Silk is called colorway 3. And it's so drapey. I really, really like it. And then I wanted to do contrasting edge. So the edge here, the I-cord edge, is only Kid Silk. Still need to do something about this button situation. I'm not loving the button. I had a very, very specific porcelain button in mind that my grandmother used to have in a sewing kit, and it's just a white porcelain button, quite small, with a pink rose and some green leaves around it. And I've been searching high and low in vintage stores here in Lisbon to see if I can find a similar button, but I couldn't find anything. You know when you just have a very, very specific thing in your head and it's like nothing else will do. So it was one of those situations. But I was looking at the buttons that I did have in my stash, and I had one really cute sort of pearlescent flower button. Then when I put that on the cardigan, it looked very juvenile. It looked like a cardigan for a 4-year-old girl. And then I had some other pearlescent buttons that were just round, so those were the ones that I went with in the end. But I really wanted to have some sort of flowers, so I actually tried to crochet a flower, but that didn't really work out either. So I'm just going with these ones for now. And I think it's okay. I haven't done a very good job here. I definitely need to redo that. But that's done, so that's exciting because I spent quite a long time on Sleeve Island here knitting this up, because sleeves are just the most demotivating thing ever. I did put this on Instagram when I was asking. This is so fun. I just need to show you my dog. I'm sorry. I know that you're not interested, but are you seeing what he's doing? What was I saying? Yeah, so sleeves, right? So I'm always stuck on Sleeve Island. I was talking about it on Instagram. People were just saying just use progress stitch markers so you can visually see the progress. And that really helped. Other people said that they would knit the body down, and then instead of continuing on the body, once they like joined in the round, they would actually do the sleeve, which is very radical, and I might try that out. But actually something that might be even better is to start with the sleeve. You heard me right. Moving on to works in progress. So I've been working a lot on this. Look at that braid, look. Are you as obsessed with it as I am? I keep stopping every row to just stare at this braid. So this is a design by Egyo Knits. I think it's called Haraboji or Haraboji. I'm not sure. It's Korean for grandfather. I've heard that word a lot because I watch a lot of K-dramas, so I should know how to pronounce that, but today I'm blank, sorry. And the interesting thing about this is that you actually start the design at the sleeve, and then you knit these like diamond cables here and the gorgeous, gorgeous braid. Then you cast on more stitches for the body. So these stitches are for the body. Now I'm about to do shoulder increases. So knitting this way, then I'm doing the body, I'm here. You do the second sleeve and then you join and then you knit down. You pick up stitches for here and knit down. So cool, I'm really excited about it. I have been really enjoying this pattern, but it's also been giving me a little bit of grief, which I think it's a little bit sad. I love this designer. I love her patterns. I think she's so creative. She does very classic things, but in creative ways. Like she has this new sweater, what is it called? It's so beautiful. It has like a split at the front and I love it and I need to make it. So I've been drooling over this cardigan for ages and I thought it looked very complicated, so I put it off for a long time. And then I started started it, and in the beginning I was a little bit confused. I'm gonna link my Ravelry page to this in case you're knitting it as well, just so that I can like tell you things that I've noticed in the pattern that I think might help you if you want to knit it yourself and you're confused. The first thing that comes up is that it says R a lot as an abbreviation in the pattern. And I didn't really understand what that was, but then I was looking online, I couldn't really find anything on the Ravelry comments. But then when I went on YouTube, there was a girl that had like a whole blog talking about this, which was really good. I'll see if I can find it and link it below. And she was saying that she didn't understand either what this R stood for, and she went into the charts and she found out with another girl that this must just mean knit, which makes sense because the original language is Danish, which is basically the same as Norwegian. Norway was under Danish rule for a long time. In Norwegian and in Danish, the word for right is ret, which starts with an R. We say the right side, so ret side. And then instead of saying a knit stitch, we say a ret stitch, so like we say a right stitch, if that makes sense. So knit is R in Danish and in Norwegian, and I mean I should have known that because I'm Norwegian and it's so basic, but it's been ages since I've read a pattern in Norwegian. So yeah, that was like a small translation error, but you see it throughout the pattern, so it can be quite annoying if you don't know what it means. There's a couple of things in the pattern where she sort of tells you, so you're repeating like row 1 to 4, and at some point she wants you to stop the increases, and then later in the pattern she tells you to continue row 1 to 4, but she doesn't specify whether she wants you to still omit the increases or if she wants you to continue the increases. But when I was looking at the pattern, I was like zooming in on the armpit area, and I could see like, okay, I don't think there's supposed to be increases here. I might be wrong, but I just omitted the increases there because right after that section there was increases for the shoulder. She doesn't really put the total stitch amount either that you're supposed to have, so at times it's a little bit, you're on your own a little bit, you know what I mean? So I think you need to be an experienced knitter to do this pattern, because some parts of the pattern is written incredibly well, and it was so nice, and it was really easy to get into the flow and to knit it, and I had so much fun in the beginning. And then every now and then, every paragraph when there's a new thing, there seems to be one thing that she doesn't mention, and just the style of how she writes things is different all the time. I don't think she actually had test knitters for this. I don't think she had a knitting tech editor going over this, because the language just changes a lot. So if you want to knit this, at times it is very intuitive, but just be aware that sometimes there's going to be things that's like, what's this? So the yarn that I'm using for this is Reuma Fivel, which is a single ply lightly spun yarn. So look how airy this is. It's an absolute joy to knit with. It feels a little bit rustic, but after you get used to it, you're just gonna love the knitting experience, trust me. I wasn't that sold on the yarn when it came. Like, I had a lot of good things about it online, and when it came I was like, oh, it feels so rustic. But I have been winding it up on my winder, and the yarn cakes are so beautiful. I'm gonna see if I can insert some photos. So yeah, this is my width. I think I'm on track so far to do this, but let's see, because I might have messed up in the section where it said to do the increases and I didn't do them. But if that's the case, I'll find out and I'll just have to frog back, you know. So you can see in the beginning that these diamond stitches are really good. Like, I'm good at keeping the same direction. Once you've cast it on for the body here, you're knitting flat, so you need to do the cables on the wrong side, and she doesn't really explain how to do that, and it's really it's so boring, it's so annoying. I'm managing to do the diamonds, but I'm not, because I'm switching directions. Okay, I didn't do it on that section. Well done. Definitely did it on the other section. And you see that I'm switching directions on the diamonds, and this is definitely one of those things that normal people would not really realize, but as a knitter, I notice, and I think other knitters will notice as well, I'm just gonna keep going, and it's definitely one of those things that I keep going and then later on I'm gonna be like, oh, why didn't I frog back? But it's okay, future Susie. Don't be so crazy. Just go with it. Those are the things that are on my needle, and I really want to talk to you about a yarn that I acquired to knit the Milena Polina top that I talked about in my spring pattern roundup, and I'm gonna get the yarn. Hold on. So last week I got Lang yarn for the first time. This is Amida, and this is a yarn. Oh my god. It is a cotton yarn. It's 93% cotton and then 7% polyamide. But the way that it's spun exactly the same as Cardiff cashmere. So they're using like a chain net structure to spin the yarn. So it's extremely, extremely fluffy. And I don't know if it will pill. I still have to check on Ravelry. I'm sort of scared to check on Ravelry because right now I'm so in love with it. And I'm going to make the Genie top by Milena Polina. I talked about it in my spring roundup patterns. It's this beautiful, beautiful halter neck top with a keyhole here, and you have like I-cord ties. I'm very excited. I went for this green color, this sagey green, because I do have green eyes, if you haven't noticed. So whenever I wear green, that comes up. Oh, this is so nice. I think my dog will definitely love to use this as a pillow. So me and one of my Instagram knitting friends, Filipa Knits, you need to check out her profile. She has the best photos, the best project. She's a Portuguese knitter. So we're planning on doing like a little mini cal for this. If you're interested in that, drop a comment just so that I can see if you also want to knit the Genie top. It can be a little gang on Instagram and cheer each other on and stuff. That could be nice. That's all I have for today. I hope you are well, enjoying spring, and let me know what you're knitting. I'm always excited to hear about that. Thank you for watching.